Okay, it's end of November and we're going to tour a legal second dwelling unit in the basement in Newmarket. In any construction, fire is an important component and generally the first component that needs to be considered when building. And in this case, for the second dwelling unit, because it is within a residential house, you have to provide fire separation in both the ceiling, which we've done in this case, to give it a 45-minute fire rating with 5/8 drywall and safe and sound bats in the ceiling, and also any of the walls that divide the second unit from the main unit. And in this case we have 5/8 drywall, safe and sound, fire bats, and another 5/8 drywall on the other side, and an island with a sink in it. So obviously we had to cut out concrete to get the sink there, get plumbing there, and you'll see, as per code, we've had to put a clean out here and P-trap below the counter because your vent pipe is underground as well, and your P-trap needs to be below that. We have shut-offs there for water. We have another 20 amp outlet here. A hood fan going outside and through the bulkhead, and that 6-inch duct is wrapped in insulation, so it prevents condensation building up when the hot meets cold. In order to get plumbing over to the bathroom, this was the original builder rough-in area, and they only had one vent stack going up to the roof. So fortunately, we were able to tie into it and run it under the ceiling, through the wall, and into the bathroom. And when you're running that long of a vent, should have some slope going to the drains in the kitchen, and then the drains into the washroom just on the other side there, without any U shape to it, so that water condensation does not build up and block it. For the island, a few things here. We've put in 20 amp outlets, and because this one is in proximity to the sink, this one with a nightlight feature has a GFI on it, and if that were to trip, so does this outlet here. So there's no risk of a shock if something were to fall into the water or water get on an appliance. Because the exit for this dwelling unit is on the second floor, you have to take the staircases up out to the main entrance for this unit. You're required by code to have an egress window, and in this case we put one in the master bedroom. At the time there was no windows here, so it worked out that one, we needed natural light in here, and two, we needed an egress window on this level. And an egress window has specific requirements, and those being the area of the window, and any given side has to have a minimum length as per the Ontario Building Code. And the purpose of this obviously is a means of escape. For example, a fire where the tenant is unable to use the main exit, they can open this window by hand and remove in this case, both panels and escape outside. And this bathroom features a heated floor and the controls here, one for the fan, and we like this kind of switch because as a timer you can preset the number of minutes that it will stay on for, and just once it's set, just simply turn it on and it'll count down those minutes. And you can see here we have a stacked washing machine and dryer combination. Washing machine on bottom, dryer on top. Great for utilizing space and great for utilizing the plumbing that is in this bathroom. The fan obviously makes some noise, but it's not a loud fan, and it's the right size fan for the cubic area of this room. When you're buying a fan, you want to look at the CFM, cubic feet per minute rating for the fan, and there's a calculation that is done based on the size of the room and the amount of air that gets moved out per minute. And again, in this space, similar to the kitchen, the concrete was broken up to roughen the plumbing. And that's not too bad of a job because in the basement, concrete's probably about 2 to 3 inches thick. Using a sledgehammer, you can break it up, or obviously a small jackhammer to chisel out the concrete and give the plumber enough room to roughen their drains and water lines. So here we have the access for the water shutoffs for the washing machine. And in this case, the washing machine is, because it's in proximity to water, we have it on a GFI, and it's also on an arc fault breaker, which is required by the electrical code as well. And the GFI for general purpose hair dryer, curling iron in the bathroom, and because it is close to a sink, it is a GFI outlet. On the topic of electrical, all the general purpose outlets here in the bedroom and in the living space are all connected to an arc fault interrupter breaker. So if this detects a arcing in the electrical itself or anything plugged into it, it'll cut the power. Okay, let's tour the furnace area. This is always exciting for a number of reasons. One, when you're doing a second unit in a house that is more than 5 years old, and both units, the main dwelling unit and the second dwelling unit, are sharing the HVAC system, which we have here, you're required to put a induct smoke detector. And in this case, it's done on the cold air return side, and it also can be done on the supply side. And its purpose is to detect smoke in the duct system and shut the system off, so it does not feed air to where a fire is and prevent smoke from circulating through the duct system within both units. Something to point out here on both the furnace and the hot water tank, it has the proper PVC exhaust and intake material leading to the outside of the house, and it will be rated as so. for the furnace and the hot water tank, they're using a fresh air intake. So one line brings in fresh air and the other line blows out the exhaust from burning of the natural gas. Also, you'll see, because this HVAC system is in the second dwelling unit, it has to be fire protected. And what I mean by that is, in particular, the ceiling area has 5/8 drywall with safe and sound fire rated material inside. And you'll see here, these rings, we call them fire donuts, and their purpose is to choke off the hole. Should this pipe heat up from a fire, it will melt, exposing an opening to the unit above. And the purpose of this fire donut is when it reaches a certain temperature, it'll expand and close off this opening. And we've done this in a number of locations where part of the HVAC system penetrates into the second unit. For copper and wiring, we've used a fire-rated sealant to block off just the minor gaps that were there when the drywall was put in. And for any access to shutoffs, and in this case here, there's a shutoff for the gas fireplace, there's a mechanically fastened steel access panel installed. Okay, back to the furnace and hot water tank. We mentioned they have fresh air intake, or also known as direct air intake. The older units that are about more than 15 years would have a power venting, which they're taking air within the space, within the room, and not directly from outside. In that case, when you start building your second unit and start enclosing the space, the HVAC equipment with walls and doors, you start choking the air supply. And what will happen is they start to run inefficiently and become a safety problem as well. And in this case, prior to upgrading the equipment, we actually put these vents in through the walls to allow more fresh air to reach the equipment so they would burn properly. One thing to note in this low ceiling and in this storage area is we've put in a LED light in here. So obviously you can see better in here. And it's important to do this as opposed to having a light bulb there, which is a electrical code violation. You don't want that light bulb to break and have somebody exposed to the electrical current coming out of the socket. Another important safety feature within a house or second dwelling unit is a combination smoke, CO, visual and audio detector. One in the bedroom and one adjacent to the bedroom. So in this case, we have two of these installed for this unit. And in this case here, it wasn't required by code, but because of the number of power outages this area experiences, we installed a emergency light. This is connected to a 45-minute battery pack and instantly turns on when the power goes out. And this allows the tenant to safely exit or enter the premise when there is no lighting available.